Hey everybody, and welcome to Ryan and Jake talk about the video game industry for a little bit. A show that we're calling the Wonder Twins Business Hour.
There it is.
There it is. Um, we like it. I don't know, but Jake and I are gonna show up and try and talk a little bit every week, yap a bit about stuff that's going on because there's a lot of stuff going on and it's not usually good. And people are coming in to chat and other places and asking my opinions on things, and now I can be like, we're gonna talk about it on the show. Um, which is what we're doing here with a couple different things and topics that we have to talk about, namely things in kind of around the Xbox space, which has not been groovy for the past couple of weeks here.
Microsoft. You gotta love them. You gotta
Yeah.
love them as they come in and buy everybody up, and then I guess now see how that results in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just said Jake, but with me is Jake the All Right, famous YouTuber and marathon lore expert
Model, reality television star. The list goes on.
and citizen.
Citizen, vaguely.
Yeah. Citizen, who knows for how long. But so the Xbox situation has been bad going on for a little bit now. But the first kind of the big thing this week that has kind of broken, which is weirdly not related, which we'll get into in a second, is there are a couple different sources. Rebs Gaming was the first place that posted about it, and then Jez Corden from Windows Central followed it up that a Halo multiplayer game has been canceled, because of course it has, because it's Halo and it's Xbox in the 2020s, and before that, why would it not be canceled?
Yeah, and this is the one that was supposed to be a battle royale game and then was a big team battle thing. And I've also heard about an extraction Halo thing. That was a rumor, maybe also coming from Rebs like a few months ago or something. Was this
Yeah.
big Halo multiplayer project all just one thing, or were these like a bunch of separate individual projects that they were working on? I'm kind of blown away that the next major thing we're getting from Halo isn't a multiplayer thing, that we're getting this campaign evolved remake. And now to see that the multiplayer thing they did have is canceled kind of makes me
Yeah.
interested to see, I guess, what the next handful of games they release will be.
There's been a billion different like multiplayer rumors over the past like months and years. I feel like since Infinite that we were just like hearing one thing or another. Like, yeah, I also was hearing about a Halo extraction shooter, which seemed almost like a joke at the time. Like, I genuinely am not sure if I ever heard that rumor in a way that felt like it was 100% sincere and not at least taking the piss a little bit out of Marathon. Um, but like, yeah, I definitely heard the Halo Battle Royale rumor. I had not necessarily understood that whatever that was had then transformed into a big team battle game, which to me is infinitely more interesting than something like a battle royale game. As somebody who has like long lamented the loss of big team battle in Destiny from Bungie and has long wanted the studio to go back and do something like that, because I used to love big team battle back in the day. Like, they had it, and now they don't apparently. Big team battle, for the folks who are too young to know what that is, was just exactly what it sounds like. It was just Halo with like 20 people a team and a bunch of vehicles. It was a good time. It was chaos.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's what
kind
this is
of
going to be.
the light Battlefield Halo experience. I am surprised that they didn't go more in that direction. It's especially with kind of, I don't know, even from Halo 1, like the memorable
Yeah.
multiplayer map for me, maybe this is kind of red versus blue inspired, is Blood Gulch, though. There's big
Yeah.
open space and you can drive vehicles around. It's kind of like the ultimate way to experience the sandbox that is Halo for me was the big team battle. And as they added more flying vehicles and stuff, yeah, I am surprised that it didn't move like almost exclusively in that direction. I know Halo 5, I think, had a big mode like that. And then the big team battle stuff in Halo Infinite was pretty good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I get why they would
Halo
maybe focus on that for a multiplayer Halo game.
Halo 5 had that Warzone mode, which the IGN article that I'm looking at is saying that this this game was kind of inspired by that Warzone stuff, and I don't remember it. And honestly, I didn't look it up for this because I'm bad at my job. But to my memory, the Warzone thing was kind of like a Battlefield style, like push pull, across this like these large scale maps where you're like gaining ground. Kind of also like a bit of a Battlefield, a bit of a, like a Battlefront almost, um, style of mode that I remember sounding really cool. And then I remember thinking that the only Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer stuff that really worked for me was the more competitive, like SWAT style stuff. But
Oh,
that's
you're right.
apparently what this
Halo
was
5
pulling
had
on.
the SWAT like
Yeah,
little sci-fi
little
VR
arenas.
arena thing. That was
They
good.
went
I
hard on the
enjoyed that.
esports.
Yeah.
And that was like the only thing I liked about Halo 5 at the time. Um,
Wait, you weren't
but
a
this was
fan of
also
the AIs teaming up? They've all gone mad. They're taking down the humans.
I beat that game eventually. I went back, like went back to beat it, but at the time I started playing it, I like my longtime Halo compatriot and I started it, and we quit hard. Um, Harder than I ever quit a game I was technically looking forward to. I went back and beat it solo, and that game is miserable. It's not good. But I remember that the esports stuff being kind of fun, and I remember wanting to really like this Warzone mode, and remember also it not being super successful. This is also part of the supposedly support part of the Xbox's mission to make Halo in Unreal, which is what they're also doing with Campaign Evolved, which comes out in like 2 weeks at the time of this recording. That Halo 1 remake. So, like, this was all part of it, but apparently, according to Reb or the sourcing here that I'm seeing on IGN, the reason that it was canceled, which people will love this, I'm sure, the project got killed because the devs were struggling with Campaign Evolved, and so they pulled resources from the multiplayer game over to Campaign Evolved to get it out the door, and that basically soft canceled the project.
Well, I guess that shows that Campaign Evolved is serving its purpose as, right? Isn't it kind of, or at least from what I've read, intentionally designed as a plan to like teach the new group of people they have how to make a Halo game and figure out like a workflow
Yeah,
within Unreal Engine. So I guess it's it's operating as intended in that capacity, but it is rough to see a situation where, I don't know, at least in my eyes, the next Halo thing doesn't have multiplayer. Seems very core to that experience, so it's interesting, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of like that's like the story of this entire thing, right? Like, if you've been around for any amount of time at this point, it's crazy. I mean, we'll talk about this in terms of just like the reality that we live in, but like at this point, Halo, like 343 Studios and Xbox have had the main reins of Halo longer than Bungie ever did, and they just keep fumbling the bag over and over again. Like the fact that the next multiplayer thing from in the Halo universe is just like gone, like languishing forever in cancellation, when God knows when there's going to be another Halo project ever. It's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and also
How
Halo
does this
Infinite
happen?
no longer is being supported. The seasons have ended and stuff, which I don't know if you played a lot of Halo Infinite, but I feel like at the end, what they got in the multiplayer suite and especially the Forge mode was pretty fantastic, all things considered. But it's just one of those situations where maybe too little, too late. I honestly feel like, Ryan, this whole thing is a classic, like your older brother went to Harvard kind of situation. It's like
Uh
from the
huh.
beginning of 343 and now Halo Studios, they're just living in this shadow that is like very difficult to overcome because the circumstance under which Halo happened can't be recreated. It wasn't just that it was
Yes.
like a good game and it was fun to play. It's like it came out at the perfect moment. It was attached to Xbox and Microsoft's push into the console space. Like the
Yeah.
cultural movement, especially going into like 2008, 2009, 2010, how big Halo was. That was really, I feel like in some capacity, a mainstream introduction of gaming to a certain subset of people who probably weren't, completely aware of those things. Breaking Benjamin on the soundtrack, like these things were a big deal and happened at a time where it was, I don't, maybe the word revolutionary is a little bit extreme, but it feels like that. It feels like Halo really was something that, uh, I don't know, maybe we won't see something in that same capacity because it's just impossible to recreate. And now you have these people who are trying to live up to this monolith, which I'm sure is a difficult position to be in.
Yeah, I don't envy the team at all, but it's still one of those things that you're like, how does it get like how do we get here? Because like I mean you're right. Because like ultimately Bungie went from making like these great little Mac shooters that were innovative because of adding the Y axis. Is
There
the
we
Y
go.
axis? It was the Y axis, right?
We're not math
It was.
people.
Nope. It's I think yeah, Y axis, up
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Adding the up down aiming with Marathon to then being like, okay, we're gonna take this entire genre and we're gonna be the first people to really bring it to consoles in a meaningful way. Like the crazy thing about like back in that time that people don't think about anymore is like it was very much like the same way that people think about oh you can't bring RTS to consoles now, which I think is still kind of true. I still don't think anybody Halo Wars did it okay, but I still don't think that people really figured a way to do that. Like the first person shooter felt that way for consoles at the time, and Bungie was like, okay, we're gonna bring this game to this new Microsoft machine and revolutionize everything. And yeah, you're 100% right. Came out at the perfect time. It was like I think honestly, like it kind of benefits the sci-fi multi like it when they designed the everything with the U I have to not say UESC the UNSC
Yeah, there it
um
is.
there it is the UNSC when they designed all that it was obviously very like aliens inspired but it came out in 2001 so it kind of like the people at least in America were pretty well prompted for like uh American military shit because of 9/11 so like it all just kind of went into this perfect reality where like it was like Halo was the gaming culture for like a super long time. It truly is like one of the biggest franchises. To me like it feels like it still is even though it 100% isn't. And now there's just a whole generation of people where Halo is just like this obscure old man shooter that comes out with a new game every couple of years and like no one touches it. And like yeah, I touched a little bit of the infinite multiplayer at the beginning and then just like never again. Honestly, partially because like I really liked the Halo Infinite campaign. And it kind of felt to me like amazing. Finally, they're getting out of the shadow of Bungie. They're doing something interesting. The story is interesting. Like I had been drawn into the marketing for a Halo game, and to me, it delivered for the first time in like since Bungie had been making them since Reach. And then they were like, actually, we're gonna kill this project and any of the single player stuff to work on the multiplayer." And so I'm like, I don't give a shit how it turned out in the end because ultimately like the multiplayer for it killed the one interesting thing to me they'd ever made and now the next thing they have coming out is another Halo CE remake. um I know it's a little bit more than that with campaign evolved but like I'm still frustrated that the one thing that it felt like they were doing you know my older brother may have gone to Harvard but I'm doing something new and interesting over here now. They were like, actually, just kidding. We're gonna stop doing that at all. We're gonna leave that story completely unfinished, and we're gonna go do something else instead."
And the other thing that's tough is I think, and maybe I'm not entirely up on this, but I believe the narrative kind of stuff they left was finished in a novel that was released
Yes, I
separately,
think so.
and potentially that was supposed to be part of a DLC or something. I will say, like, with Halo 4, Halo 5, and Infinite, I think another part of it is that each of those games do something right. Like, there is a piece of those games that is distinctly good. I can't remember off the top of
Yeah.
my head what that was for Halo 4. So maybe maybe my statement isn't fully true. Okay. But from my
The campaign
recollection.
was okay.
Oh,
It
see,
was
I don't know that I would
okay.
say that. I know that's not
See,
it for me, but
there are a couple. There's one level where you ride on like a super elephant. I think it's called a mammoth or something.
uh
Um, through the jungle. That is kind of just a giant gondola level, which Halo has a bad history of those. But this one actually I remember working out pretty well, and I distinctly remember it as being like pretty cool. The Forerunners are awful, and
that's
the
the
way
thing that I
they
remember.
demolish the lore in that game is sucks. But I remember that level being pretty cool.
But I think I think Halo 5s did have a special thing, like especially when you brought up that swap mode. Like I feel like that was cool. Like in Infinite, like I cannot the Forge mode in Infinite, like where it ended up, although it wasn't there in release, and like I don't even think co-op maybe was in release. There's so much stuff that was left out, but there
Oh
are
yeah, it didn't
things.
launch with campaign co-op, I think.
Oh yeah. See, that's rough. There's things that all these games do that I think maybe there's even an argument to be made where it's like, okay, that maybe is the best iteration we've seen, but they're very granular. They're specific things, and when you go back and you look at like the original trilogy, and even I would say extending into Reach and ODST with the introduction of Firefight and the kind of them playing with the abilities, as they go into Reach and like different stuff like that, they just were such complete packages. The campaign was
Yeah,
fun, the Forge was amazing, the theater mode was incredible, the multiplayer was great. And so now while I do think there are things that were good about I guess the 343 era, like there was a handful of things there. It's just the total package was so lacking in comparison.
yeah. Halo was nothing if not consistent for a long time under Bungie. Like I have my own personal ranking of the original trilogy, and I put three up there for me as number one, which I don't think is necessarily super popular. I think most people seem to put two up there in terms of the campaigns, whereas I think probably put two last. But to me it's kind of like a Metal Gear Solid conversation where I don't think there's any wrong answer. Um, for the like if someone for someone to rank the first for someone to rank the numbered Metal Gear games other than five, I think there is a wrong answer on that one. Um, but like there is no wrong answer. Someone tells me four is their favorite, or two is their favorite, or three is their favorite. All of them are correct to me. There's a good
Let's do
argument for all of
this.
them.
Let's do rankings. We can leave out Halo Wars because I feel like it's such a different thing. Let me hear your ranking. Let me hear the order just so I
Do I
understand.
have to do, or do we have to include the 343 ones, or are we just doing the Bungie
Yeah,
ones?
include the 343 just as a
Oh
reference, point of reference.
Jesus Christ! I mean, like, to me, Halo 5 is easily the worst. It's not even close. Um, like easily the worst is five. Five at the
This is this is a great insight into the difference between our minds because I totally was thinking you're going to start with one. You're starting at the bottom. This is the glass half full,
No,
glass
you
half
go
empty.
up. You go up. You go up. You go
Okay,
up. You
okay,
got to get to
okay.
the top. So five is the worst for me
Okay.
easily, and then probably four. Um, and then I would probably put. I see. I think I would probably put Infinite after that, but only because I understand that I have a like nostalgic reverence for those for the Bungie ones. So I don't know. I think to me Reach is the worst of the Bungie campaigns, which I know is super unpopular and people don't agree with me on that. But I would hear an argument for Infinite above the Infinite campaign above Reach potentially, but I need to play it again. I played it pre-release or like review stuff at Polygon, so didn't play it all the way through, and I have not played that one on solo legendary either. Whereas I did lone wolf runs of all the original Bungie ones, which is also partially why I'm still maybe mad at Halo Reach because there's some absolute bullshit in the lone wolf for that one. It's rough. Then for me after Infinite would probably be Reach 2, 1, 3, but those last ones are really close. Those top three are like very close for me.
And
What about you?
no inclusion for ODST? Are we not counting that? Is that a
Oh, ODST. Okay. I would put ODST after Infinite, actually, or like between Infinite and four. I am not a fan of the ODST campaign.
wow?
I think
Okay.
Firefight's neat. I think Firefight's cool. I actually never did like a full run of Firefight because it was just usually me and my friend playing, and we would needed 4 people and could never get it. I would honestly love to go back and do a Firefight run with like you and Scarrow and some other people. I think that would be fun as hell.
Yeah, that'd
But
be a good time.
I like to me ODST was I don't love the marine gameplay. I don't think it's and the engineers are just the fucking worst. But I I think it's cool and moody. The storytelling's really good. I just think the gameplay suffers a little bit from what they're doing. I appreciate the experiment that they're going for, but yeah, ODST was falls a little bit by the wayside for me. What about you?
Okay, starting from the bottom, I'd say 5 for Infinite. I think we're the same there.
Yeah.
5 for Infinite. Reach. 3.
Interesting.
1 ODST. 2. I think 2
Wow,
on
okay.
top. I love.
Yeah,
Listen,
2 on top is super popular. People love 2.
it's raining. You throw on a saxophone. It's just the vibes.
Yeah.
I really think it's the vibes alone. Also, with all Halo things, it's important to remember that whichever one you think best, it just came out at the time in your life where you were
Yeah,
most
you are
primed to
2 years
enjoy it.
younger than me. You are,
Yeah.
so it's kind of exactly perfect. Those Halo games were coming out. I was looking this up last night, which is funny. Those Halo games came out at a clip every 3 years from 2001,
That's
all the
insane.
way through Bungie's tenure. Every 3 years, like clockwork. Halo 1 in 2001, Halo 2 in 2004, Halo 3 in 2007, and then 2010 was Halo Reach. 2009 was ODST, so they snuck in an extra one there, but otherwise it was every 3 years, which is just like wild. So yeah, it fits that the people who are just slightly younger than me would connect more with Halo 2.
And listen, in,
I mean,
in 20 years, when there's the next people like us are sitting here doing a podcast or doing the video essay about how Infinite and Halo 5 was actually the best ones, I'll be excited to watch those videos as well. I'll be excited to hear.
Yeah, I'll be sitting down.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
right.
put in my
I'll be in a
hearing aid
wheelchair.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, look, giving the Covenant back their bomb is still probably the coolest thing Master Chief's ever done. So and Halo 2 always will have that going for it. I also think the boss fight for Mercy will always be like one of my most memorable moments in that series for me. So Halo 2 has so many good moments for it, but like that's partially but my memory for that's part of the tragedy of the 343 era to me, is because part of my memory of like killing Mercy and fighting Mercy right now has been sullied because when the MCC collection, or when I just collection cheese queso, when the Master Chief collection came out, it was so broken and buggy that my friend and I, who had played Halo together since our like childhood, were playing through it in college, and we would get to the gondola section in the Assassinating Mercy level. I can't remember the name of it. And that gondola section is so bad on Legendary. It's so bad. And every time that we would get to his chapel and kill him, which also that boss fight sucks on Legendary, it would crash and not save our progress.
Oof.
And it did it for months. We did it 20 plus times.
I was just about to say, I bought it, MCC disc. I was so hyped on it. I was trying to explain.
So hyped.
I think at that point, I was married, or maybe I was engaged or something. Obviously, my fiance, my wife, who had not played Halo. I was like, listen, this is maybe we play some Halo. I'm trying to sell it, like, have all this stuff. And yeah, another situation where got it home, put it in, and okay, this actually does not work. I remember having issues just playing like local, like couch co-op even.
Yeah.
The multiplayer was broken. Yeah, just another string of like just insane fumbles in the.
Yeah.
And was that the first 343 kind of?
No. I was looking this up for the purposes of this. I did do my homework on this one. And so CE Anniversary was the first thing that they did, and that came out in 2011, the year after Reach.
Universally
so they were like,
loved, right?
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, the art style change on that is so unbelievably bad. But like they basically Marvel like MCU'd Halo. Like they were ready. They were prepared. It's not the type of, like, now you look at it and you're like, the idea that they had a Halo thing coming out every single year for 5 years is like ridiculous because we go 6+ years between Halo releases now. But they had CE Anniversary in 2011, Halo 4 in 2012, Spartan Assault, that sack of shit, in 2013, the MCC Collection in 2014, Spartan Strike, the follow-up to Spartan Assault in 2015, and Halo 5 Guardians in 2015. That is 5 years, 6 Halo releases, and all of them have major issues.
Master Chief slowly tilts up his helmet, revealing his sick goatee. He smirks, turns to the side to Johnson and goes, "We're in the end game now, bub."
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. No notes. Yeah.
Hey, but in that time, right,
if they were just get Robert Downey Jr. in, it would be way better.
Oh, true. Yeah, put RDJ.
Put Robert Downey RDJ in as Master Chief in when they redo the show. Yeah, and then somewhere in here is the Halo show in like the 2020s.
But also Halo Wars in that time, which was really good. Fantastic. Yes. I don't play a lot of RTS.
Halo Wars was actually before Reach. Okay. Halo Wars, I think, was technically the first. Well, that was actually that was Ensemble. That was the Age of Empires team before they got shut down, I believe. I need to look this up.
So not 343 related, but
I think it's clicky.
It is funny that in that time, like, I think Halo Wars 1 and 2 are
Ensemble.
Both fantastic games. Like, cool story.
I really like 1.
Visually looks sick to me. I remember the cutscenes were pretty rad as well. I mean, like I said, I'm not like a big RTS guy, so I'm not like super able to critique. Like the most RTS experience I have is like Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 1 probably.
Nice.
Which I loved and are fantastic, but I'm sure the genre has evolved tons. I obviously played some StarCraft, but I don't know that I can look at it super critically.
Nice save.
Yeah, right. No Scara. I'm not a Scara. But I really enjoyed the Halo Wars, and maybe I forget if you were saying this earlier, but I felt like played well on controller.
They did it. Their main job was to make to do what Halo did for first-person shooters with RTS games, and I think they did a super admirable job of it. Halo Wars 1, I really, really love. I think they did a really great job. Halo Wars 2, I remember, I played it, I think, once and think, it's okay. I don't think it captures the magic, but also that some of that's nostalgia. I'm certain of it. But Halo Wars 2 was 2017. So that was the first year-long break. So 2016 was the first year that 343 had off. They did Halo Wars 2 in 2017, and then Infinite was languishing in dev hell until 2021. Obviously, a part of that's COVID. But 2021, and then the next project from that team isn't until Halo Combat Evolved in 2026. So
the campaign involved.
Did I say Combat Evolved? Yes, campaign evolved. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, they found a cheeky new thing for CE.
The combat stays the same. The campaign is evolved.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's it's just kind of staggering to me every time I think about it how mismanaged this franchise has been in that window since 2010, in the 16 years since Bungie stopped working on it. Not that all the stories I'm sure that would be within Bungie when that was happening suggested it was well managed at the time, but it wasn't obvious from the outside looking in. From the outside now, it's hard to, you look at that run of that first couple of years and you're it makes sense to stumble on the first thing, the second thing, whatever, but to slowly start to gain ground or whatever. But they're still stumbling all these years later. Maybe Campaign Evolved is fucking awesome and we'll give them their flowers or something. But at the end of the day, it's still a remake of a game that came out 25 years ago. So it's it just is it is really hard if you were not around in the early 2000s, or if you were a baby or anything, or if you weren't playing games. It's really hard to describe to people now how big Halo was, and how Master Chief was synonymous with video. It was as well. I feel personally, and maybe this is my bias, I feel Master Chief was as well known by parents and grandparents as the video game man as like Mario was. Like it was close. It was closer than like almost any other mascot has been.
Yeah, at least here
Um,
in America. I have no idea, like,
yes,
globally what kind of reach. I mean, I imagine obviously it's a very big deal, but
I don't know either.
yeah, I would say here in America, especially because the tie-ins, it's like the Mountain Dew, the Doritos, the McDonald's,
Yeah,
I think even like very like stuff that even if you're not like indulging yourself in all those things, if you're in the grocery store, if you're driving, through a town, like you're seeing advertisements and tie-in products for these things. And once again, backed by Microsoft, who really is kind of a monolith themselves that is able to
yeah.
inject whatever they want into society largely. So,
Steven Spielberg was going to do a show like that. He was going to produce the Halo show for a
no.
long time before, like way before we got the Pablo Schreiber version. It was like it was going to be Steven Spielberg, and people were like, "Yeah, that makes sense." It like that Halo would be the big video game adaptation that they were going to do before video game adaptations were realistically like quality. It was the one that people were like, "Oh no, I have hope for this one actually because it's so big. How could they possibly fuck it up?" And then the Bungie Microsoft divorce happened, and they just couldn't crack the code. Even with people like left behind from Bungie to run 343, like they just couldn't make it happen. It's I don't know. It's just so weird, and like to think that there is no that the next potential big Halo multiplayer thing is just done theoretically because of like mismanagement on the remake of a 25-year-old game.
Yeah. Well,
Like
and it
yeah,
seems like you can kind of like track. It is like kind of crazy to think that you had this golden egg. Like, how do you fumble it? But also, the decisions that they made were very much in line with we have something that's widely popular. How do we make it appeal to the largest audience? Let's they call it what's the thing that's bigger? Well, Call of Duty's a bigger game. Let's try to introduce some of the features in this game and just slowly over time trying to grow and grow and grow a thing that's already so huge. You're going to
yeah,
have to sacrifice some of its identity if you want to keep profiting off of that, and you're going to go into different markets and try mobile games and different visual interpretations. And it just seems like kind of the end result of this super corporatization of something that started as like a thing that people were creating, a little world and
yeah.
universe and style. Yeah.
It's kind of like one of the first. I know it's definitely not the first, but one of the big video game examples of kind of like the corporatization of art. I think like in again, I am nostalgic for these games, so it's very easy for me to say this, but it feels to me like Bungie left and management got super involved all of a sudden, and then not. I would never want to suggest that the people who have made other stuff at 343 like don't care because I think that's silly and ridiculous. But it feels like the care that was being put into it became more about like how do we annualize this franchise and less about how do we make the next cool Master Chief adventure. Again, I'm the right age to think that, but it feels that way. And it's like it lines up with all the other stuff we know about Xbox, really. Which is the other part of this whole thing is that this comes all of this information, the story comes right off of Xbox laying off 1,600 people with plans to lay off 32 or like 1,600 more for a total of 3,200 Xbox employees, which is like a quarter of their total staff. But it's actually significantly worse than that. Jason Schreier just put out a video that you should go. I'm going to push his videos in every single thing I ever make. But they're fascinating and really good and interesting. And
He needs it. Good of you to help out a small
yeah,
up
he
and
does need
coming
it.
guy.
Yeah, he needs it. But he's know what he's talking about. But he put out a whole thing talking about basically like the fucked thing about these layoffs is also like there is a whole arsenal of support studios that Xbox has deals with that have NDAs signed where they can't even talk about the fact that they've worked on some of these games. And then their game gets canceled out from under them. and then they can't go out and say, here's this thing that was on my portfolio. And then those support studios have to lay people off because the contract work that they were doing for Microsoft has now been canceled. And so it's actually much wider in terms of like the amount of people who are going to lose their jobs because of these layoffs and cancellations and things like that. And like I know Xbox is getting like some amount of weird praise from people because they're not outright canceling some of these products and they're like allowing some of these places to live, but like it is truly hard to that's like a PR face saving move in the moment of like a staggering number of people actually losing their jobs. And it's just like clearly whatever, I think a lot of people like the vibe that Phil Spencer put out and everything, but clearly like the bets he was making were not paying off. And like the spending spree that he went on to buy up all these places like was irresponsible. It's just like it led to a couple good years for some of these folks where they could just like make whatever they wanted and be relatively, free to make, the mandate was like go make interesting critically acclaimed games. But I don't remember if I've said this on Escape Will Make Me Pod or not, the marathon podcast that we do. But like that almost makes things worse because for a long time the Xbox mandate was like just go make something interesting, make something critically interesting that you care about. And these people did that. They did their job. They did what was mandated by them by management, and they still are facing these horrible consequences. While Phil Spencer quietly retires and other people in the organization get promoted to oversee new things going on. Meanwhile, all these people are losing. Like clearly, Xbox is just kind of a shit show right now, and so it's no great surprise. It suddenly the fumbling of Halo for all this time starts to make sense because you're like, oh, whatever's going on over there is just a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's just a mess, and like poor management or whatever. It's just whatever is supposed to be happening there's not happening. And I don't know. It's maybe Halo should have been a sign earlier. It's worth mentioning, by the way, because I don't actually think that we said this on while recording, and then I'm gonna stop talking for a minute. That this actually the whole multiplayer thing was not part of the Xbox shenanigans. This mix-up, this removal, this death of the Halo multiplayer experience that they're talking about happened before all the Xbox layoffs, in an effort to get Campaign Evolved ready to go. So IGN is speculating in the news piece, and I don't think there's necessarily any reason to any like thing tagged to this that would lead you to believe that it's true, but I think it reasonably makes sense that it could potentially get revived under new management if new management does not want to wait a super long time for the next big Halo thing to come out, for the next big Halo multiplayer game, which makes sense to me. So I think there's still kind of hope that this multiplayer game could return now that we have a different direction that Xbox is going in, where they're going to be doubling down on stuff like Halo. But yeah, it's a mess over there.
Yeah. And I like you're saying, it is cool that the opportunity for games like Sinuous and State of Decay continues on. Like it's cool that those aren't just completely gone, but once again, these companies are kind of being taken off the leash and freed into a market that's going to be very difficult for them to sustain themselves in if they can get some sort of additional outside funding or find their footing on their own in some capacity. I have no idea what that looks like, but it seems like it's a great move on their part in terms of like how people are going to perceive it, because they're not just outright deleting those things. But in effect, when we look at this 6 months from now, a year from now, how many of those studios will continue to exist or thrive or be able to launch their projects? I don't know. And it seems like it's painting a very dire kind of vision of the future for a lot of these people who, like you said, were doing their job. And it seems like the large Xbox strategy did not work out. And I mean, hopefully the result of this, like in the most positive way, can be something that's more sustainable, and thoughtful decisions about like how this impacts people's lives are made at a higher level so that they don't kind of put themselves into this position again. But we'll see. I feel like greed kind of always finds a way to
Yeah.
make the worst of things and people. And I know this kind of our last thing here, but um, this kind of repositioning of Microsoft to focus on their staple titles. I forget all that are. I know some Bethesda titles like Fallout and Elder Scrolls were included. Gears of War, Halo. They kind of
Doom,
having this recommitment to these
Quake.
franchises
Yeah.
that have a history. And that kind of ties into now we're seeing a lot of remakes. We have the Campaign Evolved remake coming out. Star Fox 64 just came out. We have Zelda Ocarina of Time. Is that the other coming
Ocarina of
out?
Time's later this year.
Which, man, to me that just feels like we're really spinning our wheels here, and I just don't know if these old series are going to be able to recapture the kind of imagination of people. I do think they're going to be successful in the sense that there are a large amount of people who have nostalgia for them, and if you put a shiny coat of paint on it, it's going to be good. But I don't know. I think it's kind of like a difficult place to be in when the way that you're betting is on, kind of these older properties as opposed to the position that they seemingly were in, which was we have a bunch of talent and we're going to give them the leeway to kind of make new things and hope that one of those catches on. But it is
Yeah.
interesting to see a general shift kind of towards I don't know, like reintegrating these older things into our new plans going forward and making that a focus, maybe even.
Yeah. So, I mean, you set up that segue beautifully.
Thank you.
To the last thing that real professional. The last thing that we're gonna talk about is kind of like the remakification of everything. Because I know it sounds like really bad and dire, and you look at stuff like, oh, things are creatively bankrupt, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, things are so expensive to make, they're just remaking everything, blah 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 blah. But there's actually like some really good reasons for all of the remakes, and why they're happening. And I think actually Star Fox 64 is a really good example of this, as we to kind of tie into Campaign Evolved coming out in 2 weeks here. So I think it's like worth looking at, like, why all the conversation around Star Fox 2026. Jake, are you a Star Fox guy? Are you a
I'm
Nintendo
not
guy?
a Star Fox guy, so I have no
Yeah.
nostalgia. I mean, listen, I fuck with like some classic Nintendo stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that I've ever even played Star Fox 64. I don't know. Was there a Star Fox game for like the Wii or GameCube? Is that a real thing?
Um, there was Star Fox Zero for the
I
Wii
think
U.
I think I may have like played a little bit of something like that. That was
Okay.
maybe not loved by the
Yeah.
fandom of those games.
You can't always trust that though, because Star Fox Adventures fucks, and people will tell you that that's wrong, and those people are wrong. Okay. Star Fox Adventures is good. It's a weird. It's not really a Star Fox game. It's more of a Zelda like, but it's very good, and it's fun. And Rare can do no wrong, and they did a good job. Anyway, um, put it on NSO Nintendo, please. I swear to God, I've been asking for it for forever. Anyway, so Star Fox 2026 is a remake of Star Fox 64, which in itself is a remake of the original Star Fox on Nintendo on the NES. Uh, it has also been remade multiple other times with Star Fox 64 3D for the 3DS, and Star Fox Zero, to my understanding, is to some degree a remake of Star Fox 64. They all cover the Lilat Wars, which is just a period in time in the Star Fox universe. But that's like 5 of like the 7 or 8 Star Fox games that exist are all about this one thing.
Oh, and
This is the
also
Lilat Wars.
is Star Fox available via the Nintendo Classics kind of thing that they have as part of their subscription
Yes.
service? So it's there as well. So it's been
Yes,
remade and
it's
you play
yes,
it.
also
Okay.
that. Yes, both the NES version and 64 are all on the Nintendo Switch Online service. They also weirdly, I think they put out Star Fox 2 for the Super Nintendo got canceled all those years ago, and then when they came out with the Super Nintendo Mini thing that you would plug up to your TV when Nintendo started doing that during the Wii U generation, they uncanceled a game from the Super Nintendo and put it on the Super Nintendo Mini, and now I think you can play it on NSO. I have not played it before, but I've heard it's actually pretty cool. Um, but basically, Star Fox is for the most part all this one like this one period of time, this one remake of this one type of game. And so understandably there was like this real outcry when this thing got announced by people being like, why the hell are we getting another Star Fox 64 remake? Why are we getting another Star Fox 64 remake? Why won't they just make something new? And I think it's like that is just a conversation that has echoed throughout time over the past couple of years, and certainly I think you can get that argument for something like Campaign Evolved as well, and other things of like Ocarina of Time. Like, why are we getting these remakes instead of them just making a new thing? But there's a couple like really good reasons for that I think are worth exploring. So one thing that I think you alluded to earlier, talking about the move to Unreal and the reason why Campaign Evolved exists in the first place, is training up a new team to build Halo games in Unreal. And that is something that we see as useful tool for both remakes and also things like Elden Ring Night Rain. These like side projects, as I believe Miyazaki's been pretty explicit about side projects like that being good training opportunities to turn junior developers and turn them into senior developers, turn senior developers into people who have leadership experience, and turn completely new faces at the company into seasoned developers who can move on to the next big FromSoft game or whatever and know what they're doing. It's a good training utility that also results in something that you can sell. So it makes some of the money back. And so like when you think about it, when like Star Fox has not existed for a very long time, the last thing being Star Fox Zero on the Wii U, which was a long time ago. Because of that, there's no team throughout the entire Switch generation that has made a Star Fox game, and certainly no team that has made a Star Fox game that has been well received. The last well received Star Fox game was Star Fox 64 29 years ago. I like adventures, but it was not well received. The last time people loved a Star Fox game was 29 years ago. So the team that made that does not exist anymore. There is no team that has made a Star Fox game in living memory that people like. So you need to train up a new team. Basically, Nintendo has a few different options if they want to bring back Star Fox. A thing that probably was not going to happen until Star Fox, spoilers, I guess, or Fox McCloud. I'm going to call him Star Fox. That's not his name. Star Fox is the name of the team. His name is Fox McCloud. But Star Fox appears in the Mario Galaxy movie, which is great. There's a bunch of different like conflicting reports on why that happened. Some people think Illumination wanted to do it. Some people think Nintendo wanted to do it. Some people think Glenn Powell called and was like, I want to please Star Fox. And they were like, cool, we'll put him in the movie. Which, very happy for Glenn Powell. More good things for him. He's great in the movie. I think the truth is that I think maybe Illumination and Glenn Powell both suggested it separately at the same time. And Nintendo was like, sure, we'll put him in there. But basically, you have this giant movie that's super successful, that is exposing, that's not a good term, that is showing the value of StarCraft to a whole new generation of children and fans who might jump in and want to know what's up with this fun, charismatic, mercenary fox who flies around in a cool-looking spaceship.
Is Star Fox just Guardians of the Galaxy? Is that what I'm hearing here?
No.
Okay. Is Chris Pratt Star Fox and also Mario Man?
No, how dare you? But no, I mean they're a Star Fox is a long-standing mercenary organization that the lore people will come for me on this. The lore of Star Fox is not that fleshed out because there's only been like 3 unique games, okay? So like there's not that much there. But they're just a mercenary crew that do like a fighter pilot mercenary crew that the government of like the Corneria system hires to help deal with these problems and they're kind of Fox's dad used to run it, and there used to be the only original member of the crew is Peppy the rabbit, and everyone else is relatively new. And Star Fox's dad, Fox McCloud's dad, James, started it. Or there's all these like fun, silly names, and then his dad is just James, which is great, very good, classic stuff. The point is, no, he's not Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't say that again.
Okay, I'm hearing yes.
But Nintendo has two choices, right? They're like, okay, we want to capitalize on this, on Star Fox entering back into the zeitgeist and being around again. So what do? We could make a brand new game to excite fans and everybody. First, we haven't made a new game in a really long time. But there's a bunch of problems that you run into that. Or we could remake Star Fox 64. And so when we look at like why would we make a new game, there are some benefits. It's new. It could potentially sell, appeal to people who have been begging for a new game for a long time. It could enter in and be a fresh start for folks who have never played it before. But you take a tremendous amount of risk because there has not been a good new Star Fox game in 29 years. And again, there is no team that has lived to make it. So it does not take much calculus to look at it and go, well, what if we just remade the best one? The one that everyone loves again. That will effectively train up a new studio. The studio that made the weird like VR, AR Mario Kart thing for Switch, where you could like put down like a RC car of Mario drive around. Like
I remember that.
They're the team. Yeah, they're the team that made Star Fox 2026. But so it's a different project that now that team now knows how to make a Star Fox game because they had the guidelines and the bones from this really beloved one, which also ensures that the game is going to be some amount of quality. Because at the end of the day, the bones is still this really excellent on-rails shooter that everyone loves. It also is faster to make. New games just take more time. You're seeing that that's also why, theoretically, all of these reasons also apply to something like Campaign Evolved. Like, they could make their first Unreal Halo game to be a completely new project, but it's easier and you're more likely to end up with something quality and faster if you can just remake a game that you already have bones for. Who knows how long ago? Movies are developed faster than games are. Everybody should know that at this point. But who knows how long ago it was decided that Star Fox was going to be in Galaxy. Theoretically, if they were like, okay, we want to get a Star Fox game to come out within the Galaxy release window to capitalize on who knows when we're ever going to add Star Fox again. So this is our big moment to get him out there and to capture a bunch of people who just went and were just introduced to him for the first time in this movie to say, oh shit, now there's a game. There's a game coming out for that obscure animal like fox character from this movie. He's got his new game coming out. There's only a small amount of time that you can do that for. And so doing a remake allows you to get it out faster in that window as well. It also kind of tests a modern audience's patience for this older style of gameplay, which helps the new team, if they were to go on to make a new game, wonder and go, okay, well, can we get away with making a on-rails shooter that this series is known for in 2028 or something, or 2029, or do we need to remix the formula? The critique of this game is that it's universally beloved at this point and is selling extremely well at like top UK sales, like physical sales the first month that it came out. And it was also number one on the eShop for a while. It's been like highly praised. It's selling very well to the point where it suggests that like this was a very good move on Nintendo's part, as it has now introduced an entire generation and a bunch of people and sickos like me who are mad that we're getting Star Fox 64 again, all bought it and love it. So like it just is one of those things that like, to be deeply cynical has universal upside for some place like Nintendo. And I think Nintendo is better at doing stuff just for the kind of the fuck of it than some of the other studios out there. Like Nintendo will have a franchise that is doing really well, and they'll be like, we're going to put it on ice. Like, we just don't really want to make it anymore. Why not? Who cares? We're going to take forever to make the next 3D Mario. Doesn't matter. We're fine. We're going to leave, people were still buying those Zelda games. We could make two different ones, but we're just going to take 7 years between them and then remake other ones occasionally. Like, Nintendo just kind of does stuff for the sake of it because they want to sometimes. But at the end of the day,
I've heard a lot of times is that Nintendo's not a video game company; they're a toy company, and that's kind of why they're so. In terms of strategy, different from
They
everything
started that way.
else.
They started making like trading
Yeah.
card games. They started, that was like when the company was originally founded. They were making trading cards forever and ever ago. And like the reason, like fun fact of why it is so, like women of our generation are, there's such a stigma against them playing video games for so long in their childhood, was because basically like Nintendo was a toy company, and when games were being put out in the toy aisle instead of the electronics aisle, they had to choose whether it was going to be a boy or a girl toy. Way back in the day, and games, they were like, well, I guess they'll be boy toys, and they were put in the boy toy aisle, and that created the stigma of video games being a male hobby. So yeah, like
Gamers,
their legacy,
rise up,
yeah.
bros.
So their legacy of being a toy company is like, has had huge impact on on not only their culture but our culture as well. And so like they do some interesting and weird stuff as a company. They're very hard to pin down. They don't operate like any of the other like big three in the video game industry, but also like they are a business. And ultimately at the end of the day, they're going to go like, what is the most likely way that we can be successful with this Star Fox game that we want to make? And the decision was, let's remake something old. They can't do that again. I mean, maybe they can, but like they can't do it again for a little while. But I think we will see ultimately a revitalization of Star Fox because of this game selling well, because of the reaction to him in the movie. Like we will ultimately get the thing that we want, which is new Star Fox, because of the success of this. And I think theoretically that is true of most remakes. If the, Ocarina of Time remake does great, which it will, it will sell gangbusters. It's one of the very few things that will, it's probably going to go up against GTA 6 and is one of the very few things that could actually succeed in that window. And like if there is any hope to getting a non-open world Zelda game again, like a new one, it's something like like Ocarina of Time doing super well. Maybe that just leads to getting like a Majora's Mask remake and a bunch of other remakes of that type, but it could also lead to Nintendo trying taking that team and using them to make a classic Zelda in the style of Ocarina as well, and then we have two different Zelda teams doing two different games. Like I think like remakes and remasters can be really fatiguing and tiring to just get over and over and over again, but there is like business value to doing them. And ultimately, this isn't always true, but I think in this case, that business value can ultimately extend to those of us who like want to see new things in these franchises. I think a lot of times these remakes are stepping stones on the path to getting more of what we actually want. And it is a cost-effective way of doing that in an industry that is getting increasingly difficult to be cost effective, to make its money back, to like be risky. Making money allows for a little bit more room and flexibility of risk, and new games are always a risk. Old games, that mitigates some of that a lot. So I think like that, I know that was like a long-winded rant about Star Fox, but I think you can really take a lot of those ideas there and extrapolate that out to pretty much all of the remake conversation happening right now. And like just why we get them. I don't know. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense, and hopefully like I don't think it makes it less frustrating for people who are desperate for something new. But
Well,
I think it
I
can
hope that's the
contextualize
takeaway.
it.
I hope that's the takeaway
Yeah.
that the companies come with, is that, well, there's clearly interest in this, so let's develop a new project. It does just look a little bit, I don't want to say bleak, but it looks like maybe we're in for remakes, a lot of remakes before we see that, considering it's kind of rumors about Halo 2 remake coming next and a Halo 3 remake. And I guess the
Mm-hmm.
last non-open world Zelda we got was also a remake, right? Was the remake of the top-down one on the island, which was great. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, they've been like Link's Awakening. They've been
Link's Awakening,
remaking a
yeah.
bunch of them. I mean, the last
Yeah.
traditional 3D Zelda was Skyward Sword, which itself has already gotten a remake at this point as well. or a remaster, but that one needed it because
Oh, you're
of
right. That was
the
after
original Wii
Link's
controls.
Awakening. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Was it?
well, I think the remake for Link's Awakening remake for Link's
Mm.
Awakening came out after Skyward Sword for
Oh, okay,
sure,
okay, okay.
but the on the Switch. But like, no, they've been remaking Zelda games for a long time now. Um, but this is the based on what we've seen of Ocarina of Time so far at the time there was recording, it looks to be one of the most extensive remakes we've seen, like a true remake, not a remaster of something that is a lot more complex than Link's Awakening, which is at the end of the day like a Game Boy game. Um,
A good ass Game Boy game though.
a good ass Game Boy game. Don't get me wrong, that's not, but it's a little bit less complex to pull those things together. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, also when's new Animal Crossing? Like this is you're right.
Who knows,
Now I'm
dude?
thinking about it. We don't have Mario. We don't have Animal Crossing. Like in terms of Switch 2 stuff. I really think generally, just as a side note about Nintendo, I always find myself thinking like, how are they like the biggest? I don't know financially they're really, but they seems like okay, their console's always so crazy. Everything they put out just seems to work, and like in terms of like selling enough like there's no like major, there's not a Nintendo Concord, is there? Am I just like blank to that? I just feel like generally the shit they do works and sells a bunch, and it
Oh,
doesn't
there's
make sense
definitely
to me.
Nintendo
But
Concords.
are there?
Arms, Arms would be a
Was Arms
Nintendo
a
Concord.
failure though? Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we haven't seen another one.
I
I
guess
think that would
I guess I
suggest
don't
that.
remember Arms. I just find myself
Right.
always thinking like,
Arms,
man,
there's the
Nintendo just generally like puts out shit that's always crazy. And like I don't get it in terms of like why it's so popular. But then I think like, okay, well, I have a Nintendo Switch. My daughter has a Nintendo Switch portable. My wife has one. Like okay, I get it. I
yep.
get it. Everybody ends up getting one at some point. It's like the kind of go to video game experience, I think, in a lot of family capacity and gifting
Oh
capacity.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I still feel like I would probably, if I knew somebody, partially for the price and partially for just a bunch of reasons. Whenever I know somebody who's like has a young kid that wants to get into game stuff, like the Switch is always the recommendation. And it's like a pretty easy one. Like the Nintendo, I feel like, I mean, a long time ago, uh, back when the like the video game crash was happening, like part of the way that Nintendo got around it was they invented that like Nintendo seal of quality that they would put on the box because basically gaming was getting to have a huge shovelware problem, like with the everyone's heard about the ET landfill.
Hmm.
Um, had a big shovelware problem, and so the Nintendo invented like the seal of quality, and I think that's kind of stuck with them all the time. Now Nintendo's made games that I don't think are good, to be clear. But I think for the most part they are like pretty methodical in ensuring that at least their big franchises typically have good entries. Even like games like Super Mario Sunshine that has like a bad reputation has like it's pretty staunch defenders. And if you go back and play that game, you're like, oh yeah, I guess it's bad for like a Mario game, but it's still. I don't think to bring it full circle. I don't think like Mario has an entry that is like Halo 4 or Halo 5. That feels like of the main series. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Like Zelda, at the end of the day, always kind of comes back on healing quality. Um, and I think that's like hard to come by these days. And again, like I think with the Star Fox thing, you can be pretty cynical about why we got it, but ultimately, I think it's a lot easier to look at Nintendo and the way that they kind of move and groove in these weird ways that don't seem like they totally make full business sense, and look at it and go, there's something there to figure out, like to feel okay about and not just feel the raw corporate greed of it all. Obviously, then you have people who come out and look at Nintendo and being like, yeah, but they sue people so unbelievably badly that they owe them money for the rest of their lives. And you're like, yeah, well, that it also sucks. So, they're not without blame or fault or reason to be mad at them. That's for certain. But I think they have circumvented a lot of this modern cynicism. I think, and partially because of all that legacy that they have.
Yeah. Remakes. We're in for them. They should
We are.
remake The Last of Us or Skyrim or what else? What else would
Yeah, let's get one of those in there. Like I don't even think you can play those on modern
yeah.
consoles, let alone like 4 times. I mean, come on. I don't know what they're doing.
Come on, Todd.
I mean,
Get it
like,
together.
okay, you say, but it is fucking crazy that there was nothing ready. The Xbox had nothing ready for Fallout.
Yeah.
Like,
And
like the
the
show.
thing
Like
that
it's
I'm hearing about
crazy.
now, well, I guess Obsidian's making a new one, but the thing that I heard rumored was like they were going to do a similar thing to what they did with Morrowind with like a New Vegas or Fallout 3, kind of like just very quickly announce and drop a
Yeah,
remake on one of
that's
those.
been
So
rumored
yeah.
since Fallout, since the first season of Fallout,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the second season of Fallout, there was like a rumor that they're gonna drop a Fallout 3 remake tonight or something, and then it just never happened. Like we are now they're shooting season 3 of Fallout, great show, and we've still not seen any kind of remake or remaster of the big games from Bethesda in that series. So like, I get being cynical towards Sony for being like, "Hey, do you want to play Last of Us for the 15th time using this new remake, like the third remake of this game that's like a decade old?" But like, I think I would rather have that than like nothing, than Xbox having nothing paired for the influx of Fallout fans.
You know
Like
what
I don't even
should
like those games, and I would play a Fallout 3 remake like right after
yeah.
after watching a season of the show because the show's great.
Yeah, and the only thing they gave was the Fallout 76, which I believe for the first season they didn't even have something lined up with Fallout 76. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was season 2 where that started, potentially. Maybe there was a Fallout 76 drop around then or something, but I know they brought in the ghoul to Fallout 76 at some point, maybe around
Yeah,
or right before uh, whatever the release of the second season.
it's one of those
Yeah.
things.
Hmm.
Which would you rather have? Would you rather have cynical cash grabs or a complete fumble of opportunity when you want to play something?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I like the idea. I don't know. For all these games, for
Yeah,
Halo, for Fallout New Vegas, like from my standpoint, it's like, man, emulation's so great. Like there's so many like I kind of feel like, man, go back and just play the games. Or even the backwards compatibility on the modern console is pretty good aside from like I know PlayStation 3 stuff is pretty rough. Maybe some original Xbox games aren't, I don't know, but um for me, even with like Halo 1, I think it holds up pretty good. I'm excited for it, and I think a newer generation
yeah.
is going to connect with the experience, but I don't know. Would I prefer like just
Hmm.
nothing? I guess probably not, but also I don't know that the remakes do a lot for me just because games as a medium, I think are able to capture things where like we're saying with Halo came out at the perfect time. I think like the way that it felt playing those original games had the quirks of the development tools they had at the time. And there is kind of a charm to that. I like a pretty coat of paint on things. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the Demon Souls remake was super beautiful, and I hadn't played that when it had come out. So there's
Yeah,
definitely opportunities to bring new people into the fold. But man, I feel like like a lot of games I think just hold up, even if they are clunky. But then again, I'm somebody who like thinks the original Marathon games hold up in the sense that like they're a uniquely charming time capsule of that period. So I
yeah.
don't know, maybe a bad
I
example,
mean,
but
it's one of those things where it's kind of like it's easy to put a button on this. I think it's easy to get frustrated about the influx of remakes until there's a remake of something that you're excited for, or
yeah, right.
more often, there's a remake for something that you missed the first time around.
Yeah.
Like, as a non Star Fox person, I bet you would love Star Fox 2026. It's a great coat of paint. It plays way better than the 64 game did. It looks incredible. It's awesome. It's like the perfect version of that game. The same way that like you missed Demon Souls the first time around, and what a great way to experience that. Like one of these remakes is always someone's first experience with the game, and that's who they're made for. Really, I think more than anything, like the people. I think people want to. It's really easy to look at something like Campaign Evolved and be like, "This is for me. Do I even want this?" And it's like it's not for me. not for me, it's not for you. It's for, you know, your kids. It's for our generation's children. It's for the next generation who are like want to know what all the hubbub is about. People who've only played Halo Infinite or whatever. Maybe who grew up playing Halo in their house through the Halo Infinite multiplayer and have never gone back and played the first game. You know, I tried to get my I also tried to get my wife to play Halo 1 through the MCC collection a long time ago. And she was just like, I don't know, dude. Because it feels clunky. Because it feels old. And to me it doesn't feel old or clunky. It feels like the thing I've been playing my entire life. But the first like looking at the first trailer that for Campaign Evolved that came out, I looked at that and I went, this is something that I think my wife could play with me. This is something that I think if with what they're doing to it, maybe I don't like all the stuff they're doing to it, but it's something I look at and go, I think she could actually play this one. This one might feel new enough that it would work, and I think that's who it's for. So I try not to get too cynical about the remake situation, even if it's very hard not to sometimes.
Yeah. Don't worry. Skyrim will be here for us. There's a few versions.
Yes, always. Yeah, once I can play it on my fridge, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But not until then.
All right.
I think we've been going longer than anticipated. Shocking.
The Wonder Twins Business Hour, episode 1.
Absolutely.
Chapter
in the
1.
Can.
Hey, it's a series. 1, chapter 1. Is that the British TV? Series 1. Series 1, episode
Form
1.
of episode 1.
Yes.
Is completed. So, yeah, don't sue us, please. And thank you. Whatever. They're busy. They're Warner Brothers, and they're busy with their own lawsuits already. We got at least a couple of years of regulation to get under this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're too. They don't have time to litigate us. But that's been episode 1 of our show. Jake, do you have anything to plug?
Subscribe to Ryan's channel, share Ryan's channel, like video, leave comment.
Yes, do all those things. But also, you can click, the consensus is on my channel, you can click on the contributors, and Jake will be on there too. So also make sure to go and subscribe to Jake's channel and stuff too. Even if you're like, that marathon game sucks, Jake does lots of other cool stuff too, and is also very funny and
leave the comments on there. Hey, if you hate the game, go ahead, drop the comments on the videos.
Yeah, exactly. Go to every single individual video and engage with it in some way. That's all that matters. Yeah, thanks for listening. We will be back next week. If you have any feedback on the format of the show or the name, which is perfect, and so I don't know how you would have feedback for it, but if you do, please drop it in the comments, and we'll take a look at all that stuff. So thanks for hanging out and watching, and we will see you next week.
Gaming.